with even loan amounts, making sure that students have full transparency, they know what they're getting into. So, and I think with White House, this is our house. This is the people's house. I mean, we talk about that really as Congress is that way, but ultimately the White House is as well. Unless, I don't know if there's some confidential meeting or something like that, but I would think there's already provision for that. But to say that there's not going to be a release, I think it's a mistake.
We're getting back to a tax reform question. Entitlements for the wealthy and corporations in our country are much more than entitlements for the poor and the average person. Will you commit to keep social programs for the poor and middle class and reduce the entitlements for the wealthy? For example, one that's put on here is carried interest tax rate for hedge fund owners.
Two parts. One is with tax reform. We'll see what comes. I think we ought to lessen benefits for people with lots of resources. And I hear that there's an openness from them to do that. I think we ought to make sure that the tax code is focused on hardworking, tax-paying folks, people who are just working hard, trying to support their families. That is who are being punished most by the tax code and get the least benefits with the current loopholes that are in there that have been written in over decades. It is way too complex, way too confusing. It is. It's wrong. Where the more resources you have, the more attorneys you can hire, the less you pay. I'd like to see that change. I think it needs to be fair, flatter. I think it has to be recognizing that people with less resources should pay less. And then getting to the second part of it, after just doing my own taxes, I'd love for it to be easier. I think it ought to be simpler to be able to file our taxes. A lot of other countries do a much better job of doing that, and I think we could too. As far as protecting programs, I've said that. I'll continue to fight to protect, specifically, you talked about programs for seniors and people with disabilities, but other programs as well. I want to make sure that they're truly serving the people that need the help the most. And that is really the idea of these programs, and I'll continue to fight for them. With everything, there's abuse, and we need to hold them accountable, making sure that people who are trying to game the system, that we're finding that out. There continues to be a lot of abuse with some of these programs, but there are some poor people that absolutely need to continue to be served, and I'll fight for them and make sure that those programs are still there and working for them and solvent.
In your 2016 campaign, you did not hold any debates with your Democratic challenger. Why not? And do you agree to hold debates for the 2018 election, preferably in each of the 7 counties of the 14th district?
That's just not true. We did have debates. We had debates in Kendall County. We had debates other places that some that I went to that he didn't come to. And that's okay. It's prerogative of people if they want to come. But we had multiple debate opportunities. We'll continue to do that. We'll see what happens in 2018. I enjoy them. I think it's a good opportunity to be able to see differences of candidates. I'm confident with that. I just want people to know who I am, what I stand for, what my character is, how I go through a decision-making process. And I think that will influence how we're going to vote. And I think I want more people engaged in the election process. I think that's a positive thing. And anything that we can do to get more people involved. I do think it's sad coming off of municipal elections and seeing very dismal turnout in certain places. And we need to continue to talk about this. That I believe voting is a right, but even more than that, it's a responsibility. We have a responsibility to do our homework, to know about the candidates, to find out who they are, what they stand for, what they're like, and then get out and vote. And then to be able to feel like we were a part of that, whether our candidate wins or not.
The election of Donald Trump represented a revolt against the years of gridlock in Congress. The only good thing I could see, this is from a writer of the question again, coming out of it would be that Republicans and Democrats would try to work together for the good of the country. Are you willing to compromise with Democrats to stop the gridlock?
Yeah. I've said we already have with this Every Student Succeeds Act, with the caucuses that I'm a part of. Yes, absolutely. I started started my work public service on the county board in DuPage County. Had the opportunity to serve down in Springfield. I was in the minority and super minority while I was down in Springfield, and yet was able to pass literally dozens and dozens of bills. The only way I could do that was to have Democratic co-sponsors. I continue to do that, where the first thing we'll do if we have a new idea, I've talked about this Student Aid Financial Transparency Act. The first thing we did was, before we filed it, say we want to have Democratic co-sponsorship on this. So the things that can pass. I also mentioned encouraging Employee Ownership Act. This is something that just passed through the entire House last week. It's passed out of the Senate committee. I think it's going to pass the Senate. But this is a good thing for employees. It's going to allow them to have more potential ownership in the company that they work for. It's a very positive thing. We had, again, Republican support. We also had Nancy Pelosi voted for it, Steny Hoyer voted for it, but I worked with John Delaney, Democrat from Maryland. He and I worked very, very closely on this. So it's important to me. I believe that if you're going to get something done that's going to last, it's got to be bipartisan. We saw that with things over the last administration. I'm going to continue to encourage that in the current administration, that really long-term solutions, like hopefully the Every Student Succeeds Act, the WRDA bill, the transportation bill, long-term surface reauthorization and transportation. These were done with very, very strong bipartisan support. But it has to start from the very beginning of saying, I'm not going to get everything I want, you're not going to get everything you want. How can we find a way to move forward so that we can have good things for the people we represent? Not 100%, but maybe 70 or 80%. And I think, this doesn't get covered very much as well either. But I bet you in the average week, 80% of the things that we vote on get pretty much unanimous bipartisan support. And there's 20% of the things that we're fighting over. And that's, the news, the media picks up the stuff that we're arguing over. And that's okay. That's the difference. That's why elections are important. But there is many, many things that we're working together on that I'll continue to do that. I'll continue to make sure that as we're putting together bills that we think are going to make a difference, that we want to see pass, that we're going to reach out and make sure that we've got Democratic co-sponsorship on that.
There was a recent vote relating to funding of Planned Parenthood, and we would like to hear from you what position you took on that bill and why.
Yes, I am pro-life. It's something that I believe in, but I also realize people have different opinions on that. But to me, it gets to where taxpayer dollars are going, and I think a big part of what America is about is making sure that people's consciences aren't violated, that their taxpayer dollars are used for something. I mentioned something earlier. This is what I voted on.
Let us hear from the
Can
please.
This is what we voted on, and one of my concerns with Planned Parenthood is I don't have one in my district. In Illinois, there's 670 community health centers. There's 18 Planned Parenthood centers.
You don't have a coal mine either.
670 community health centers. Community health centers provide total care. I talked about this Greater Elgin Community Health Center. Please take a look at it. See what you think. These are really good people, not political, not partisan, just serving people, helping people who need health care. And they provide the full gamut of care. They provide prenatal care, which is really important, which isn't being provided right now. They provide mammograms, which isn't being provided. It's not being provided by Planned Parenthood. So I think it's much more. Look at it. Mammograms are not covered.
You just don't know.
Prenatal is not covered. But they're covered, all coverage. Children, boys, girls, men, women are covered at these community health centers. I want to see the money go there. It's in my district. It's more accessible. It's something where the people that I represent, we talk about it representing the people who are in our district. I'm opposed to, again, violating people's consciences and some of the abortion activity that Planned Parenthood does violates people's consciences. Vast majority of people, Americans say, taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for. Not in this room. I said Americans. I said vast majority of Americans.
Everybody, if you could please settle down, we got our answers. If you continue to do the yelling and interrupting, we will be finished this evening. We'd like to get a few more questions in. If we could please ask you to please not interrupt and yell. Thank you. Would you support a constitutional amendment to limit or provide transparency in campaign finance? And a follow-up, how much money have you received from the NRA, from PACs, and other large donors?
Yeah, again, I support full financial disclosure. We're a part of it. We just filed our financial disclosure. I encourage you to look at it. It shows everybody who's given us levels.
So answer the question.
Whatever the entity is capped. They can't give any more than an individual, unless it's a larger PAC, but even then it's very limited. I forget the amount. I think it's $10,000 in an election cycle where an individual can give $5,400 per person. So I do support full disclosure. I'm concerned if there is absolute limitation on how much people can donate, that the only people who are going to be running for office are multimillionaires, and I think that's a problem. So I think it is, the thing that could break that is the ability for people to continue to support candidates that they want to support.
So, just as a follow-up, would you support a constitutional amendment to limit the amount that can be paid, can be given in campaigns?
It's already there. Now, where it isn't, super PACs are not, and I think that is a huge problem that we're going to have to talk about. I think super PACs are a problem, and both sides have abused it, and I think there needs to be much more transparency with that. But when you're talking about individual candidate donations, it's already there. There's clear limits. The Federal Election Commission is very strong, very strict, very proactive to making sure that every candidate is abiding by that. There's scrubbing of every single disclosure that we do. And again, it's out there, it's open, anybody can look at it.
Answer the question about the NRA.
I would suggest you look at his disclosures.
I would too. I think it's certainly below the 10,000. It's between 5 and 10,000. I think between 5 and 10,000. Yes.
So that's who you're working for.
The budget is set to expire April 28th. Will you fund the government from April 28th to September 30th to avoid a government shutdown? Will you vote for that?
Well, I want to see what it's going to be. I want to make sure that things aren't put into it that we haven't been told about, which has happened in past times in these type of government shutdown situations. I want to make sure that we don't shut down. I think it's very counterproductive. I don't think it's healthy for us. So my intention is to support making sure that things continue.